right, we're back for part 2 of the Gorilla Gang podcast. We have Kennedy in the background tearing her food up. That's some of the sound. But we got some questions off of Facebook from some viewers. So we're going to try to answer them as best as possible without getting ourselves in too much trouble. So the first question was talk about climate change, which I don't know. The science supports it. I actually saw an article earlier. The scientists, Antarctica is actually melting. So, it's definitely a thing. I don't really know the specifics. I know if you live in Delaware, today was a day where you can wear short sleeve shirts if you wanted. It hasn't really snowed in Delaware, like snow for quite a few years.
Speaking of the weather here, funny thing, when I dropped my son home, he was in a rush to try to get to the basketball court. It was full up with people, so.
Yeah. I think over here, there's somebody on the court now.
They had on shorts and t-shirts. At least the kids over there had on a coat. You know what I mean? So, yeah, well, kids are invincible.
I mean, it's definitely a thing. And why wouldn't you do whatever you can to protect where you live? I think I talked off camera about that. Never understood why, people threw trash on the ground in their own neighborhood or just did anything like that. Like,
laziness.
I can just imagine what your house looked like if you're throwing trash. So, and I'm not a big obsessive compulsive cleaner myself, but that's a pet peeve when I see people just like eating a bag of chips and then they're done, so they just drop it on the ground. Like, really? Like, dude, you're in a park that the trash can is like 20 feet away from you. You can't just walk it there. So I never understood why people trash everything, but it's definitely a thing. I think if you look at the amount of animals that are becoming extinct and just all that type of stuff, it's something that you got to be, maybe you might not be alive for it, but man, if you have kids or anything, I don't know why you wouldn't want to take care of the planet. But, some people, money is more important, and I'm not going to be here, so I don't care. And it's easy to deny or just say that they don't care about it. But, I do my best. I'm not the most perfect. I don't separate my trash into recyclables, but,
I do for the most part.
For the most part, but not in my actual trash. Like, I don't have 2 trash cans in my kitchen, but like cardboard, plastic, gallon water jugs, they don't go in the regular trash. I put them out in the recyclable trash can and stuff like that. So,
Fred, what's going on?
So,
Glad
yeah.
to see you on here.
But yeah, I mean, take care of the planet, man. Like, I think here's a funny, ironic thing. So that first Superman movie, the planet Krypton got destroyed because they didn't take it. They used all the natural resources on the planet, and that's what, besides the sun turning red, which stars, the sun is a star, and when the stars are about to die, they do turn red, and then they explode. But I think our sun is yellow, and the projection is it'll stay yellow for a couple hundred more millions of years. So, but yeah, there's still no reason to destroy the planet, because we got, I got 4 kids. I would like my kids to have kids and kids and kids and kids, and all that stuff, whether I'm here or not, So, take care of the planet. And don't litter, dickheads.
Yeah. Yeah. None of y'all ever watched that cartoon Captain Planet, man? Come on, man. They was trying to tell us. They was trying to keep us straight.
In the 80s, it was, I didn't like Captain Planet, but...
Me either. It sucked as a cartoon, but it had a great message.
Yeah, the message of it was good. Yeah.
It was a cartoon I watched when there was nothing else on.
I think it was an after-school cartoon, wasn't it?
It came on at different times. I think it started as after
After,
school
yeah,
cartoon,
yeah.
but then it, it
That
changed
was,
after a
I
while.
think I was high schoolish by then, so I never watched Captain Planet and the Planeteers. Was that what it was?
Heart, the Brazil. Yo, if you never heard that one song I did. There was a song I did called "One Man Army," and I mentioned the kid from Captain Planet. I said more heart than the Brazilian kid from Captain Planet. But, yeah, nonetheless, yeah, Captain Planet's up. Stephanie, wow, I haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you on here.
All right, next up, we got the worst dunk in the 2020 dunk contest. That's a very easy one. Any dunk Dwight Howard did.
Yeah, Dwight Howard.
Every dunk Dwight Howard did.
First of all, he has to get off this Superman cape stuff. And what's going on with his hair, man?
Before the Superman cape, before he did the Superman cape, they were terrible. Like, what are you doing? And first of all, you're 7 feet tall. Not a fan of. We talked about that before. I'm not a fan of tall guys should be able to dunk.
Yeah, but I think if you can be athletic while doing it at that height, I think it does add a little more to it. But you're right, Dwight Howard does not do any athletic.
He doesn't have
dunks.
that. Yeah.
And I remember years ago when he had won the dunk contest, the dunk
won it on show. He
wasn't
didn't-
even a real dunk.
He threw it.
in. So I'm not a fan of Dwight Howard's at all.
He threw it from like 5 feet away too.
Yeah, I could get even deeper into some personal stuff with Dwight, but I will leave that alone.
But yeah, so the answer to that question is every dunk that Dwight Howard did was the worst dunk in the 2020 contest.
Yeah, I would agree.
Every dunk.
Just not a big fan of his. I will say this: the Aaron Gordon dunk over Taco Falls. I think it was impressive that he got over his head, even if he bent some. However, it was a very boring dunk. But it's impressive that he got over top of him.
It is, but I mean anybody can push somebody down.
Yeah, but I still think what is he, 7'6", if I'm not mistaken?
7'5", 7'6", somewhere around there.
Yeah, I don't think I could dunk over Taco Falls if I pushed his head.
But you're also not 6'10".
6'10", that's true. Yeah.
That's like saying it's not impressive for a 300-pound guy to bench press 300 pounds.
Right.
You should be able to bench press 300 pounds. Your ass is 300 pounds. Right. So, come on. It was slightly. It's impressive to jump over a human being, period. Mm-hmm. I'll give him that. But
it wasn't
the point of it. Over. The point of jumping over a 7'5" guy, you push him down to where he's 6'8" ish. Whatever. I don't even know if you watch it in slow motion whether Taco bends his knees to help out even a little more. I don't know. I don't want to get into all that. It's impressive to jump over another human being. I'll give him that, but the whole point of him being 7'5" and getting jumped over is lost on me because he fucking dipped over. Like, so, all right. But whatever. Still, I do think he deserved to win the dunk contest.
Gordon, yeah, I do too.
I will say this. I am left-handed. I do not, for some reason, I do not think any left-handed dunks are impressive for some reason. I don't know what it is, but the way they just look odd. I don't know if it looks the same way right-handed people look at right-handed dunks, but for being a lefty, it just looks awkward and weird.
I'm right-handed. I don't look at right-handed dunks weird or anything like that, or left-handed for that matter.
Yeah, left-handed dunks just don't seem. I don't know. They just don't seem the same. Even when left-handed people are shooting the basketball, it just looks off. And I understand. I'm a lefty.
Right.
So I don't know if that's it, but yeah, I don't get it. And I'm the only one in my whole family that's all left-handed. Both brothers are ambidextrous. My older brother writes with his left hand, but throws and kicks with his right.
You know, it's funny. My son is left-handed, technically left-handed, but he writes with his left hand. He does a majority of things with his right hand. So, you know, I don't even know how that works exactly.
Right. Yeah, my younger brother, I think he's the same way. I think maybe right's left-handed, but everything else is right.
I can dribble with my left hand, and that's probably about it. I can't lay up with my left hand, can't shoot with my left hand. You know, I can fake like I'm gonna lay up with my left hand.
No,
That's
I can
about
use
it.
both. I mean, I used to one of the basketball drills I did. I was actually working at Duke, and I had watched some old Pistol Pete. And it wasn't the actual Pistol Pete; it was a kid that played Pistol Pete. But they just showed how he like took his basketball everywhere. And I was a dorm supervisor at Duke. So my only responsibility, it was a soccer camp too. So my only responsibility was waking everybody up in the morning and then doing a head count at the end of the night, making sure all the kids were in their room. So I had the whole day. So I literally would go, there's a gym across from Cameron Indoor, and that's where everybody plays.
Okay.
So I would go in there and just play basketball with those guys or outside on the outdoor courts. But everywhere I went, I did either one or two things. I either brought my basketball and dribbled all over the campus, like going up steps, like crossover up the steps.
Right.
And then I would go back to the room and I would get a tennis ball and I would do the same.
Oh, with the tennis.
I would dribble a tennis ball all around. And there was, in between my first year of playing junior college and my second year, whole different skill set. Like I came back, they were like, "What the hell did you do all summer?"
Right.
So yeah, it was wild. But
You know, speaking of drills, one thing I saw a kid do one time, and I kind of wish I had caught on because I did play basketball for the boys' club before, and of course I would, you know, play on the courts on the street or what have you. But you know, he brought two basketballs with him, and some cones, and he dribbled the one ball real hard up in the air and kind of cross over and come back with it and do it again or whatever, dribbling with both balls and everything. And you know, seeing that actually made me smile because I'm like, okay, that's somebody that really loves the game. You know, I kind of always have respect for that. If somebody loves their craft and you see them doing,
you just got
over and
practice
over,
all the time. That's
you know, I got a ton of respect for that.
and that's the way I was that whole summer. We had. I remember the first year in junior college, we didn't have the greatest of coach. He wasn't that great. But then the second year, we got a new coach, and he actually knew basketball. He had us doing like basketball drills and I don't know. Have you ever done the 3-man weave?
No, because playing for the boys' club wasn't that. It wasn't. They didn't take it that serious.
All right, so I'm gonna use the chess pieces to illustrate the 3-man weave. So you got three people. The first guy passes it to this guy, and you have to run behind him. This guy passes it to this guy and has to run behind.
Okay.
So it's basically you're weaving all the way up the court. So,
Gotcha.
so we had to do it. We had one of those small balls, like a really tiny balls, like that you win at a fair.
Yeah.
And we would start. We would have to run through the 3-man weave. 2 cycles up, then back with the little ball. Then the girls' ball. Then our size. Then he had an oversized basketball that literally like barely fit in the rim. And you had to dunk it. Otherwise, you took the chance that it would rattle around or it wouldn't, like even if you tried to do a layup with this oversized ball, you know, and then you're slowing everything down and whatever, you get in trouble because, you know, it should be fast. So you kind of, either you dunk it and you have to obviously like 2-hand dunk it. And I was never a really good 2-hand dunker. Like I'm just palm the ball, goes in. So you got to make sure that we had a dude from Toronto, Kirk. Kirk was 6'5" and had a 47-inch vert. Never seen anybody jump like this dude in my life. So I would try to go with Kirk and his roommate, Mike Hunt, who was the point guard. And we would always try to make sure that Kirk got it at the end because Kirk He just
He
like
two hand.
he not even dunk. He could just like drop
Drop
it.
it in. Wow.
It was ridiculous. And then after that, you had to do it with a medicine ball. So the 3-man weave up and down the court with a medicine ball, run through 2 cycles, and again, the medicine ball. Hey, you kind of got to dunk that too, man.
Yeah.
And that's even harder because you got to not only get above the rim with a weighted ball, but yeah, I remember doing all those basketball drills. That second year was so much fun. Like, coach would, like, on a doorknob to the gym, he would tie a shoestring and stretch it out. And then we would put athletic tape on the floor, and you had a 2-foot jump over and see how close you can get to the doorknob.
Okay.
Then you had the 1-foot jump.
Right.
And then your other foot, 1-foot jump. See how high, see how far you can get up. Yeah. And I was, after that year, like, I increased my dribbling and all that, ball handling, the summer before. But after all that, man, when I went to Western Maryland, like, just my explosive, like, I could jump higher. Like, I was taking off from a little bit outside the key, dunking on people in. Because when you first get to school, everybody's on basketball teams. You just head to the gym and you start playing, because basketball season doesn't start till, October-ish.
Right.
So we would just, like, ball. And I remember the first day we was balling at Western Maryland, somebody gave me a pass and I, like, just caught and just took off. And I missed the dunk, but I missed the dunk because I went too far.
Oh.
Like, I dunked it on the back of the rim. And I surprised myself. I was like, God damn, I was flying.
Wow.
So, yeah, this is a lot of, those were fun times.
Yeah.
And nobody ever believes I was getting up in the air. Like, I was like 205 then instead of 350.
Yeah. Well, with the boys club, we just ran a lot of plays, man. It wasn't really an in-depth practice, but I did enjoy playing, especially when everybody expects you to only be playing football or whatever. I played football, ran track, and played basketball, not professionally, but organized, and track was probably, football's my favorite sport,
Right.
but track was one of my favorites to do, man. It's just I don't know how to explain it, man. I just felt like everything else was going. It was just you running on the track. I kind of get tunnel vision.
Right,
when
yeah.
I'm
It's just
running
you.
my races.
It's almost like an individual sport. Even if you're doing like a relay, it's still individual. I was gonna say, I brought Kirk down here on one of our breaks to the Boys and Girls Club, and this dude, it was so unfair. Like, I was he was like windmilling stuff that I was bouncing off the floor.
Right.
It was just like Delaware never saw no dude like this dude. He told me he got good jumping. First of all, he's tall. Every muscle in his calf you could see.
Right.
Literally, I never seen anything like it. But he said him and his boys used to jump over cars. Like, jump over the hood of cars. Right. That's all they would just run, jump over the hood of a car. Run, jump over it was crazy.
How many hoods they tore up.
The way that dude jumped, not many.
Yeah.
His hand, as big as my hand is, his hand was a full digit bigger.
Wow.
But he couldn't palm the ball. He had, at some point, he had torn all the ligaments right here.
Okay.
So his thumb wasn't strong enough. And I remember he always had those gripper things, and he was always trying to strengthen his hand. He would take the tennis balls and, like, press in with the tennis ball. He just tried to do everything to strengthen the hand, because if he could palm the ball, I could palm the ball easily. But, man, his hands were bigger than mine.
Right.
Good old Kirk salesman.
Yeah,
Number 42.
I used to live in a neighborhood called Lancaster Court, and there was he was a little older than me, a guy named Chantel. He went to AI.
I know Chantel.
Do you know Chantel?
Yeah, we played against Chantel.
All right, so Chantel was shorter than
He was
me.
like 5'7".
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the boy could jump
Yeah.
out of this world, man.
Yeah, it was
And
Chantel and damn, what's that dude's name? Him and this other dude at AI. The dude was Player of the Year in like '91. I just can't remember his name.
Hey, Fred, if you still on here, do you remember Chantel from Lancaster Court? I don't know if you do or not. Just curious. But yeah,
They don't
he
talk
he
about
can
for a
jump
while.
out of this world, man.
Yeah, Chantel, he was like 5'7".
Yeah.
We played them at Caravelle.
Yeah, I didn't even know, when I was younger, he was that good at basketball. As we got a little older, I saw him jump and dunking it, and I'm like, what's wrong with me?
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I
what's
mean?
wrong?
Like, he's shorter than me, and he's getting up there. Did you
It
look
was
him
like
up?
Chantel. I don't think it was Johnson, but
I don't remember. It's like, man, it's been so many years, it's not funny, but that's crazy, man. Small world. I
I mean,
didn't.
I don't know him,
Nah,
but
but you know who he is.
yeah. I mean, we played against him,
Yeah. I remember the court, though.
and I remember
Okay.
the dude that was his teammate. That's why they were good because his teammate was like tall, like 6'6", 6'7", something like that.
I don't remember.
That's what is killing me.
Yeah.
I know his name now.
Right.
I don't think they won the state championship.
Yeah. I don't remember, like I said. Matter of fact, I used to work with a guy that was on that AI team, too. I think his name was Sean. I can't remember. A white guy named Sean. I forget his last name. But me and him worked at a job together, became good friends, and of course I mentioned Chantel. He was like, "Yo, I was on the team with him, such and such a thing." So, it's a small world for sure.
State winners.
He's looking up state winners. He's trying to see if he can find the guy we're talking about on there, or what have you. But yeah, I haven't heard from him in years. I don't know if he's still in Delaware or not.
Yeah, because it was. I'll worry about it later. It ain't that important. But yeah, so it was. What's up, Wendy and Mandy, both. Yeah, so it was Chantel and this other dude. I can't remember his name, but they were AI, and they were like the tall short combination. Like I said, homeboy was like 6'5", 6'6". The dude that he played with, and Chantel obviously was like 5'7". But then it was like Sanford had Ralph Blaylock and Andrew Miles, and Andrew Miles was kind of small, like 5'10", and Andrew could jump.
Okay.
He ended up going to Dell State. I think he played. But yeah, Andrew Miles could jump his ass off too, and he wasn't very big. He was bigger than Chantel. Chantel was definitely smaller. I think Chantel was maybe 5'8" at best.
Yeah, I know he was shorter than me back then.
And Andrew, I know, was like 6 feet at his best. But yeah, those dudes could jump.
Yeah. Speaking of Delaware State, I think Delaware State has the ugliest color combination.
Really, the red, blue, and
Yes, man. It looks like it's bootleg for some reason. It's not a good. It's not a good combination. Excuse me for not showing my Delaware pride, but that's just, even the UAD, the blue and gold, I think looks way better than the red and blue. I personally.
it's kind of like Superman colors, but
I don't know, man. That blue is
it's a powder blue with red, which makes it a little.
It looks a little weird, especially the.
But I don't.
uniform.
But the football uniforms are just red mainly. Like they just
I
have
think the numbers are blue.
they have the blue in it, but the uniforms are like blood red. Well, not blood red, but they're red.
The Hornets.
But yeah, I never have been into like that whole Delaware college thing. Like where the blue,
neither, but I kind of
where Delaware plays Dell State and all that. I never cared about that.
If one of them does well, I kind of throw a cheer up in the air, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, I don't particularly.
I remember when playing in '91, they played against Cincinnati in the NCAA tournament. I remember keeping an eye on that because Nick Van Exel, I think, was on Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
Slick Nick the Quick.
Yeah, I used to like Nick.
Another left-handed dude that just looks weird, man. Just looks weird. Nick Van Exel's fucking son's like in jail for murder. His son fucking murdered somebody.
Oh wow.
Yeah, craziness.
I didn't even know that.
All right. Well, that's the end of this segment as well. Rabbit hole quickly. But hey, that's what happens on the Gorilla Gang podcast. We run down that rabbit holes.
Yes, sir. Ain't no telling which way we're going to go. We will be back with the next segment in a moment. If you're on Facebook Live, please stay tuned. We will be back.
These are good topics.